I think food is powerful, and the fact that we sell something that people are excited to go and serve to their family and get together and share memories, I don't know, I think that's amazing. And
it is.
Like when you think of the best steak you're gonna have, I want Josh's Premium Meats to be in that memory. The most memorable one was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, meeting Mike Tyson,
How was that?
I was so nervous because I was like, this is Mike Tyson.
This is Josh of Josh's Premium Meats. Now, Josh sells some of the highest quality and rarest meats in the world. He has a very interesting story. He actually started off as a hospital rep who then quit his job to start his business, and since then has become one of the most sought after and successful people within the meat industry. So, Josh, walk us through a little bit on how all of that started.
Alex, thanks for having me on today. You know, big fan of yours. I think this is amazing what you're doing, telling people's story, and I'm happy to share mine. You know, there's a lot of fans and a lot of like our clients that know our story, and for those that are new, I think it's important that, you know, we didn't start in South Miami in this beautiful store. You know, God bless. I started in my garage. You know, I started in my garage. I was working at the hospital, so it was a second job on the weekends, and it was purely out of passion. It was a hobby that I had gotten into. I had bought my first home, and I took pride in staying home and cooking. By staying home, I didn't want to give up cooking quality food. That's where
Because you had to cut back on some costs, I'm guessing, because like, you get a home.
So I bought my first home, and by my first home, I started remodeling. And when you start remodeling, you know that like you have tons of expenses. So you're like, let me cut back from overspending, or like, you know, just so I can.
And fine dining is the first one to go.
Fine dining by far is the first one to go, but I still, like, you work hard, and if you have, you know, if you're working, you know, all week long and then you're still working on your house, like at some point you want to treat yourself to something good, you know, whether it's at home or wherever you want. So I was like, I would love to have some really good steak, and I could grill. I know how to cook. My mom taught me how to cook at a young age, and she's an awesome cook, by the way. She's awesome. She's really good. My grandfather was awesome. So it's a whole like bloodline.
You have a little bit in your blood.
Yeah,
the
like
whole cooking
being
thing.
cooks. Like, secretly, I wish I would have gone to like
culinary school or something?
100% secretly. I might still do it later. Who knows? Like, I'm still young. You never know. But like, I would love to learn how to like take my like culinary skills to the next level. And I think that's why I'm always fascinated to like work with like amazing chefs, because I'm just like, these are artists, and like the way that their mind works and the way that they just, you know, just put things together in flavors. I'm just like, how? Like, this is amazing. This is art. And so yeah, no, I start at my house, and I convert my garage into like a little like butcher shop. And I started just for myself and then for my friends. But
you were still working at the hospital during this
Monday through Friday, still working at the hospital.
Okay.
And I started bringing it in, and then Friday, late after, you know, in the afternoon is when I would kind of open the store in the garage, and then my, you know, my family, friends, close friends. It was like word of mouth. I didn't have anything official. Probably wasn't even legal. Who knows? But that's where all great things start. Like a cake lady or cupcake, you know, starting at home, and it's just like to see how it goes. And I started with like 5 clients. 5 turned to 15. 15 turned into 50, and before you know it, we were like 60 people.
Just recurring every weekend?
Yeah, and the good thing about it was like it didn't feel like a business. It felt like we were just all part of like a hobby, because we would share like, hey, I'm cooking a brisket this weekend, dude. And then I'd tell them like, dude, last weekend I made one. Like, this is what I struggled with. Like, I hit like the wall, the stall, and like I got stuck there. Or like, people have different techniques, they have different rubs, different things, and it just the camaraderie of how we would share like with each other, and I just started getting hooked on that, and
on that feeling of everyone liking it.
And also, this is the biggest part, we were cooking with the world's best quality meats from Japan and Australia, and even domestic meats.
And how were you sourcing that at the time without even having a name for yourself?
I ended up trying to source locally. I go to first all the local butcher shops, and they tell me, Josh, like, we don't have anything like this. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to go online. And I'm like, man, like, okay, I get it. You know, it's not something that you have a lot of people coming in for every single day. So I start going online, and I buy some shitty beef before I find some really good beef, and I end up making a really good friend in the industry that kind of guides me through like the do's and the don'ts in the meat industry. And I'm still good friends with this guy now. He's one of my mentors. I owe a lot to him in the sense of like awareness and giving me that opportunity to like dive into an industry that I had no idea of.
It started just because you loved it and
Yeah,
like,
but,
you know,
like,
making your family and friends happy.
I
but
just didn't think
you didn't know what it
I didn't
become.
think I'd start a business.
Right.
Like in the meat industry, because I just said like, hey, I've never been in the meat industry before. You know, I'm a consumer, I cook at home, but like never did I think I could get into this industry, because you're intimidated by these million and billion-dollar companies that already exist. And you're just like, well, you know, how do I find a place in this industry? And it was little by little, me working sale after sale, weekend after weekend, where I started finding my place, and it was my niche, and it was these more exclusive imported meats that were commonly found at high-end restaurants. But we were cooking it at home. It almost felt like we shouldn't have this, but we had something special. And that's where I start creating Josh's Premium Meats, which we go by JPM. JPM. That's where JPM starts to like, the brand, the company starts to get an identity of like, hey, it's just not like a regular meat shop. It's different. It's exclusive, high-end stuff that it's not a meal. It's a memorable steak.
Yeah,
and you know
sure.
when you're having it, because you're like, wow, this is insane.
It is. And at what point exactly, like what was the exact turning point that you realized like, hey, this is gonna go beyond just cooking for my friends and family, like I have something big here?
When you sell something, your closest friends should always support you. And it was when I was making those like third and fourth tier relationships that I was like, wow, okay, like we got something here. There's something here that's like, it's not because of me, it's not my, you know.
Once you get outside validation.
It's not my face, it's not, you know, me, it's the actual, like we have something special that we're offering, and people are recognizing it. And that's when I knew that JPM was special. And back to when you were a medical sales rep, how hard was it for you to leave a job that you were making pretty good money in to then take a risk and do this? What most people don't know is I didn't leave that job until February of 2021.
Oh, like
and
not that long
and JPM
ago.
started in 2017. The thing is that when you start a new company, it's really hard to live off of that company, because you don't want to. You want to see it grow. You want to be able to let it flourish, and it can be hard. It can be hard to like let the company grow, hire people, afford salaries, overhead, and all these things. So I was like, man, I really don't want, put that kind of pressure of me taking a salary from JPM. I want to see it grow, and I want to be able to afford help. So I stayed working at the other job. I had 2 jobs. It was really hard, really difficult. Went through some of my toughest times personally. When you don't leave a lot of time for yourself, you can, we can get pressure. You can gain weight. You feel unhealthy. You're not sleeping right. You're going through all these things, because as a business owner, you're wearing 5 different hats. Marketing. You're also the guy doing payroll,
I know.
and you handle your Instagram, which I'm passionate about. I love handling my own Instagram.
Which you do.
I love
a
answering
really good
questions.
job at that.
Creating content, selling, and turning product. So you're wearing all these hats. On top of that, you have another job too.
Yep, that's where I'm at now.
And then take away that, I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a friend. I'm a business professional. So it's all these things you're trying to balance on top of running a business. And
that was 4 years of you balancing all of that.
It is really hard. Making sure that you find time for yourself was something I had to learn a little later on, so that I was okay. And eventually I was able to just focus on JPM and leave last year, because I wanted to do it responsibly and build the company up. So that was something that definitely was hard, because I loved what I did before too. I didn't leave the hospital because I was bad at it. No, I left because I had an opportunity to build a name for myself and be passionate about a business that I could run and kind of dictate and see what I could do.
Yeah, this is your own project, your own baby.
And I left on good terms. Everyone there. The good thing about it, everyone.
They buy your meat.
Yeah, they all shop here. Like some of my closest friends are, and my best customers too, were all from the hospital days.
Okay.
Yeah.
During that very difficult time in your life where you had to balance everything, what are some things that you had to compromise, or that fell off, or taught you lessons?
The people that you need most, in the times you need most, will be there for you. If you ever come to JPM, it's family run. Not everyone here is blood, but to me, they're part of my family. And when you come here, you meet my mom, someone that to me stepped up big time when I really needed someone. I'm really bad at asking for help. I think in my head that I could do all things, and my mom looked at me, she's like, I know you're not asking me, but I'm here for you. Let me help you. Delegate a little bit to me, and I promise you,
The OG.
She was exactly what I needed, and she came to start working with me, and overnight it just worked. A lot of my passion and for food and the way that she loves people, because she's a very people person. She's amazing. It was just very natural for us to work together. Yeah.
No, you're very lucky with that, and to
I'm
have
not saying
your
it's
mom
perfect,
helping you.
because out of all the employees at JPM, she's the only one that doesn't listen to me. I can't she's the. I was like, Mom, leave this here, and she's like, no, but I think it looks better over here. And I was like,
that's the thing with working
and then
with
I was
family.
like, pick your battles. I was like, you know what? If it's over there, it's still in the store. It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I let
family
her,
dynamics
and I
and
let her
working
be
with
her,
them.
because she is special, and that's where I had to learn how to kind of let go. So if we're kind of going into like the hardest things,
The letting go is
that
hard.
would be something now that I think about. When you have a company that you consider like a little baby, your baby, you're very protective, and it's very difficult sometimes to let people in or kind of put their input, and you just like trust it, because like you're very like, oh, I want to protect our image, or I want to protect this, or I like maybe that's not the right move. And I would say that learning how to delegate and learning how to let other people just lead is
How do you
important.
eventually get to that point? Because for me, like in my business, it's hard to let go.
100%.
So hard. I feel like the same thing. I have your same struggles. Like I feel like I can do it all, but I can't. And then I'm always overwhelmed. And then sometimes things just fall in the back burner, but I can't let it go.
I think it comes into like just maturing as a good leader, good management skills. You can manage your business a lot better because you don't feel like you have to do everything. There are people that are really good at certain things, and you have to understand that you as an owner will not be good at everything. Like, you think in your head you will be, because you give it everything you have, and you think your passion, your drive will make you really good at everything. But you can be good at it, but you won't be, there's someone that's going to be awesome at that.
How do you go about building a successful team? Because that's the hard part, hiring, firing, managing.
Well, in the beginning, it was who was willing.
You are the team in the beginning.
Who was willing to give me time and patience so I could like teach them and stuff like that. And then later on, my mom was with me, and then I hired 3 cousins, which was great, because at the time COVID was taking place. The company was growing because restaurants had closed, and when restaurants close and the supermarkets are getting destroyed, we just saw the natural growth happen exponentially, like overnight. I'm not saying people wouldn't have heard of Josh's Premium Meats, but because of COVID, word spread that much faster. I had people tell me like, I can only eat so much frozen pizza. I need a good steak. I miss my, Prime 112 steak. I miss my, Capitol Grill, and all these staples in Miami.
People were missing out on the luxury.
Like, I need a steak. Like, I need like my fix on good steak, and they're like, go to Josh's, go to Josh's, go to Josh's. And because of word of mouth and it was spreading, we had lines out the door. Sometimes it would be like a 2-hour line.
That's crazy.
And I was blessed, but I needed a good team. So my friends would call me like, hey, if you need help. And then later on, I was able to, hire some really, talented people. One of my best friends, Adrian, who works with me now, the opportunity came for us to work together. Wow. And bringing him on board has been, a big blessing to me, because it's not just someone that you're just close with, but also someone that's really smart. Really
I think
smart,
that's amazing.
And he's good at all the things that
you're not.
I could improve on.
Okay. I like how you say you're not gonna say you're not good at it, but things you can improve on.
Things that I want to continue improving on.
What are your strengths?
I would say I love people, and I like talking to people, and I like knowing how people are wired and what moves them.
Same.
And just finding what they're passionate about. But I like working with people, and I like sales, and I enjoy providing an experience. Like, when you think of the best steak you're gonna have, I want Josh's Premium Meats to be in that memory. Like, I want like kids that are coming into the store to be like, I've been eating Josh Premium Meats for 10 years now. And like, to me, it's like, it's my butcher shop, it's my home. When I think of steak, like, I think of JPM. And like, I want to create that kind of legacy where like people like rave about us, and they're like, no, you haven't had steak till you come here.
And it's true. I'm telling you, like, my dad, I mentioned, he says that your tomahawk steak is the best one he's ever had.
Thank you.
Like, hands down. And he won't stop talking about it.
Not because he's your dad, but I agree with him, not gonna lie.
Trust me, like, he won't stop talking about it. I'm like, all right, I guess I gotta go buy him some more. He loves it.
To come full circle, I'm blessed to have a beautiful team. We're still growing. We have more positions opening up. So, we're always looking for those type of special people that want to be a part of, a company like ours.
Yeah.
We have plans to open more stores.
Oh, more stores, good.
Yeah. So JPM, like South Miami is our main location right now. I plan on opening at least 2 more stores. And I want to go into Aventura and into the more Broward.
That's a good market.
Yeah.
Aventura.
We love Aventura. There's tons of clients that we have now. We deliver to there now, but we want to open Aventura and, going to Fort Lauderdale, Broward.
Okay.
And who knows what else we could do.
You never know.
The opportunities are endless. We have tons of fans all over and clients that we ship to. So you never know.
How many years was it from 2017 that you started to see true success?
In the beginning, it was very difficult because people have this misconception that oh, if a steak is $100, you must make 50. Well, maybe at a restaurant, but at a butcher shop, it's not that at all. Our margins are actually a lot lower.
What are the margins at a butcher shop?
It depends. It depends. It varies based off of each item because poultry is much less, the meat's less, so it really varies. No matter what that number is, it's volume based. Unless you have tons of people walking in here, every single day, or not every single day, but weekly, it's hard to see that ROI because, real estate's expensive in Miami. Labor's gone up. So if you want a good team, you got to pay well. If you want a good location, it's going to be expensive. And you also need to have good volume. So it's definitely, in the beginning, it's a struggle.
It was hard to gauge it at the time.
In the beginning, it was hard because you're just a small company. I'm at my house.
Right.
Right now, my overhead's as low as possible at my house. And I'm one employee doing everything. I could see this grow. And then I move into a warehouse, which I end up meeting Chef Billy G, who ends up being a huge part of, JPM and our story, because he was a great mentor when it came to restaurants and it came to chefs and how chefs think. And he's very connected to a lot of people in Miami, and he had done a ton of pop-ups, and he was up and coming as well too, and so versatile because he knows a little bit about everything, and he's good at it, and he's a people person. People love Billy. So at the time, he was looking for a kitchen because he has his catering company, and I was looking for a store. And we ended up finding, through a friend of mine who's a realtor, he called me, that, hey, we have this perfect location in the warehouse district behind on Bird Road. And I convert the front of the warehouse to a store, and Billy has his kitchen, and it's like a beautiful marriage. And it ends up being something that's amazing because he's one of my best friends now. Continues to be, and if you follow us, you know that Billy and I are always just collaborating on something. He's someone that I'm very grateful for. And he's a great guy.
Your business has grown a lot in a relatively short amount of time. There's been time in between, but relatively short for all the success that you've had. I'd say you're kind of known as the meat daddy of Miami.
Meat daddy. The meat guy. I'm the meat guy, yeah.
The meat guy. So how has that affected your personal life?
How has it affected? I'd say it's affected in a very positive way. Seeing people acknowledge hard work and a company such as ours, it makes me happy that we are making a difference when it comes to people eating and dining at home. That to me has brought a lot of joy and happiness to my life. I think food is powerful, and the fact that we sell something that people are excited to go and serve to their family and get together and share memories, I don't know, I think that's amazing. And
it is a big deal.
And it makes me happy. So I would say that it's a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. It's definitely had hard times because to run a business, and if you want to be great at it and you want to be the best, and you want to compete and strive for just greatness, it comes with a price. And for me, it was, a lot. I had to put everything I had into this, all of my focus, all of my time.
So you had to let other things go, and
100%. And like I said earlier, you're a son, you're a friend. You could be, a boyfriend or husband. You could be all these different things. And if you want to be great at something, not that you can't be good at these, but you have to sacrifice. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
And everyone that was around me and continues to be supports me, so that I can continue to grow. And this is nowhere near where we want it. I am not done whatsoever. I still want to do amazing things.
Yeah.
I see this brand going so much further and doing a lot more. To me, it's crazy because as the owner, yes, we've done a lot, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I want to do more. I want to continue finding and sourcing the best farms out there and finding them. We're always looking to see, what's up and coming, or new cuts of beef, or what countries are doing something different, because I want to provide the best beef for our clients.
How does that process go? How do you gauge which one's the best?
When it comes to gauging what's the best, whatever the best is what you think's the best.
True.
I can't dictate what's best. You know, for me, I could tell you what's a little bit more rare, what's more uncommonly found in the market, something that's harder to obtain, you know, like, you know, Japanese A5 and other, you know, cuts of beef that I think are just more exclusive. But that doesn't make it the best, because people come in and like, Josh, what's your favorite steak?
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
what is it?
They automatically think I'm gonna go for like the most expensive thing.
Yeah.
And for me, my favorite steak is something that, you know, people will be like, really? And I'm like, yeah, it's my favorite.
What is it?
And it's I love picanha, and like, I love Wagyu, you know, picanha is my favorite. And also the churrasco, because it's my go-tos.
I mean, it is really good.
To me, it's amazing. And I mean, I'm a ribeye guy. If I go to a steakhouse, I'm ordering a ribeye. But when it comes to like, what do I eat the most in my store? I definitely eat probably the picanha and the churrasco the most. And so I'm a big fan of that. But yeah, I mean, that's what I can eat. Whatever you consider the best, that's a personal preference.
And when you go to restaurants, are you extra picky when you're ordering meat?
It's funny because, you know, dating now, people will be like, oh, you must be a meat snob. And I'm like, on the contrary, like I love, you know, not that I order steak often, because like, for me, since I'm around it all the time, I crave sushi and more seafood and like things that I'm not around. And if you ask a sushi chef, what is he craving? He'll tell you steak. So like, it's just natural how that happens. It's funny.
Yeah.
But no, I think that there's still a lot of great beef, and there's still a lot of great restaurants like serving, you know, good steaks. And then there's times where you go to a restaurant, you ordered it, and it's a humbling experience. It makes you very appreciative that we have this beef.
Yeah.
But it goes both ways. So, you know, for me,
so you're not there like overanalyzing
No.
it and being like, oh,
when I have a bad steak, I'm just like, thank you so much that I have this. And when I have a great one, I'm like, wow, like I didn't cook tonight, and this was really good. And you know, I props to the chef and to the restaurant for serving quality beef.
And you serve actually to some of these high-end restaurants here in Miami, right?
We do, which was something really cool, because I never thought when I was opening, you know, JPM, that I'd end up doing wholesale and working with restaurants. It was a natural transition that it just happened overnight, because I was selling to a ton of chefs that their restaurants were closed and they were sourcing for themselves or practicing or working on their next concept. And they're like, Josh, this stuff is really good.
Wow.
And I'm like, thank you so much. And he's like, no, like really good, like better than some of these multi-million-dollar companies, some of these big name companies. They're like, this stuff that you're bringing in is not like as easily found as you may think. Because I'm in my own world, I'm doing what I'm doing. And they're like, Josh, when I open the restaurant, I want you to be my meat guy. And my first restaurant, when it reopened, was Komodo.
Wow.
You know, with David Beckham and you know, and Alex Perez, and that was my first opportunity.
You started off high.
And I was like, I'm at Komodo. Like, I remember like calling my friends, I'm like, we're at Komodo. Like, everyone go buy the tomahawk tomorrow. Like, get two. They're like, hey, that tomahawk's expensive, dude. Easy. But like, to me, that was a big deal. That was a big deal because like, I was like, man, like, I never thought that this would, you know, get to that level.
That would grow to that.
You know, not that I didn't think it would get, but you just don't see it happen. So I start with them, and then I get more opportunities, and before you know it, we're doing, you know, tons of different restaurants in the city. And that's important to me, because now JPM is not only just a retail store, it's also, you know, a name that's getting known by like chefs that are, you know, artists and amazing, and what they're doing with our meat. If I already thought it was amazing, like, holy shit, like this is really good.
Yeah.
And now you're dining at your favorite restaurants, and I'm eating JPM. And my friends are just like overly joyous and proud, and you know, my family it was a big deal to start seeing our name on a menu.
What other restaurants are you at other than Komodo?
Well, we do, you know, big hospitality groups. So we have like, you know, several restaurants like Novikov and ZZ's Miami, where you find our name on the menu. And when I first saw that, I was like, wow, like that's so very grateful, you know, and we have a great relationship with them and many other chefs and restaurants that have given us opportunities to work with them, and it's just been beautiful. And not only that, but we support them too. You
also cater to some athletes, celebrities.
Yeah.
How did that start? Who was the first one, and how did they find you?
I think Jose Baez was like the first one, and some of, you know, some other baseball players were the first ones. But it was a very natural. It was just Miami, you know, the circle of just people like, hey, I have, you know, this contact for this guy who's bringing in some of the best stuff, and naturally it just made it to, you know, these people. The most memorable one was Mike Tyson. Meeting Mike Tyson.
How was that?
I was so nervous because I was like, this is Mike Tyson. I remember the first time that like he called with him and another good friend, Brett Ratner. They called and like, Josh, where you at? Like, I was like, what's up? They're like, we need steaks. I'm like, where are you guys? They're like, we're in St. Bart's. I was like, guys, I can't just ship it all over the world. And they're like, but it was like, it's Mike Tyson. Oh my God,
so
he's like FaceTiming.
Yeah.
I was like, but I was like, look, when are you coming back to the States? He's like, oh, I'm coming back to California. And he's like, Josh, you know what? Come to my house, ship the meats over, but I want to meet you. Come to the house. And I'm just like, holy shit.
And he wants to meet you.
Yeah. I was like, hey man, like this is cool. Like I'll make the time. And I remember traveling to LA and we did this awesome barbecue and it was super cool and super chill. And I enjoyed meeting him. And when he came back down to Miami later that year, we went out to dinner. It was actually at Novikov. There's pictures of it. I think I'll send you pictures so you can share it in this. Where like he's like with the whole staff, and it was a very beautiful memory for me, and they were very appreciative too. I remember the chef at the time was like, I don't know what to say. Like this is the best day of my life.
But isn't it crazy how it all comes full circle? And like, yeah, you met Mike Tyson, but you met him through your business, your hard doing, and everything that you built though yourself. Like who would have thought that now you're doing, like you're catering to these big people?
Like food is powerful. Like you just don't know, who you're gonna meet, because at the end of the day, we all eat, right? Even in the old days in wars, they would stop wars, right? They'd go eat, and then they go back to like fighting each other, but they would like share a meal. So food is very powerful. Food by far is one of the most powerful things, and it's opened my eyes, and opportunities are endless. You can meet anyone. Like I always kid with my friends, like my dream would be to grill at the White House one day. We'll start with the governor's office, like governors in Florida, and then we'll go. But we never know. Like, hey, I would love to,
Do you think that a lot of your clientele comes from Instagram too? Like, is that where you most of the marketing?
So Josh's Premium Meats started more word of mouth. I know that's my strongest by far, and our own customers vouching for us and saying like, guys, you got to go to my guy. Like, this is awesome. So that's our strongest. Then second, Instagram definitely created a lot of awareness, and us just being consistent, putting out content, showing people that these steaks are approachable. Anyone can make these at home, and we want to make it in a very delicious way, and show you different versions of it. So and then we have at our store, if you come here, we have tons of seasonings and different things that you can do. So like changing it up, not just salt and pepper every single time.
Right.
Which a good steak really only needs good salt and pepper, because you're paying for that steak.
What advice would you have to someone who is also in a corporate job or so? They have a passion project, they have a business that they want to start, but they're not ready to let go of their current job. What would you tell them?
I'd say that's a good mindset, because I'm a conservative person, so I see and acknowledge and identify with that. But stay passionate. Like give it everything you have. Like if it's something that you truly feel is a winner and like it moves you, eventually in due time, people will notice. People will see it, and like just don't give up. Be annoying. Be proactive. Be like persistent, and you'll see that like if all those emotions and all that energy is in the right place, you will have breakthroughs. And lucky for me, my breakthrough was in the first two years, like where I was able to see like just that kind of like feedback. But sometimes it could take 10. Sometimes it could take 5, or it takes a pause, and then it coming back to it, or just finding maybe a different version of it.
Did you have any moments where you felt like the business was not going to succeed?
In the beginning, it was very difficult with 2 jobs, and my first job was a sure thing. Not that it was a sure thing, but hospitals are not going anywhere. They're not going to close, and it was really difficult because I had an 8-year career working there. Whatever you're gonna do, just make sure that it moves you, because like there's days that you don't want to do certain things. You wake up and you're like, man, I really don't want to do this, or like there's days where at your old job, because it's just a job, that you're just like, man, I don't feel like going to work today. But when you're passionate about something, when it's yours, like for instance, my name's on the company, like Josh's, and for me, like my reputation, I think of that, I'm like that's what pushes me to go further, because like I put my name on it. Like that's who I am. Like I'm putting everything on the line here. No, there's days I'm tired, and there's days I'm just like, man, like I just like need a moment. But like
you can't rely on motivation. That's where discipline comes in.
Yeah, like it's that extra gear, that extra drive, that you're just like, I will do whatever it takes for this to be successful and for this to succeed. And right now I'm able to focus on JPM. But if things got tough, if things weren't working out in my favor, I would do whatever it takes. I would get a second job if I had to. I would do whatever it takes to make sure that this company continues to thrive and continues to succeed, because I want this company to be around for a very long time.
And that passion and like that personality and your customer service and everything that you exude is what also helps set you apart from the competition, because many people can do something similar, but not everyone can do it the way that you do it. And at the end of the day, people not only come to you because you truly do have the best meat, but also for the experience, the customer service, and the passion. It shows that you love what you do.
I love what I do, and I think that we're very good at what we do and consistent at what we do, and I think that we still have more to offer, and there's more, and there's tons of people that don't even know who we are. And as much as we do in Miami, you know, have a great reputation, and I'd say good awareness, every day there's people that walk in saying, hey, it's my first time. And I love it. My mom and I give them the whole experience. We do a lot of education when it comes to steaks, from Japan to Australia, the different cuts, and always pushing them outside of their comfort zone. Because once you do that, you give people an experience and they always remember you. And the education is because we want to feel like we're giving you something at the same time, so you have confidence. So we teach you how to pick a steak. We teach you what to look for, making sure that, you know, you're aware of the difference between Wagyu and Prime, and also choices and the different grades of meat and the flavor profiles. You know, when something is a higher marble score, it's going to have a richer, bold flavor, and then when it's a lower marble score, it's going to have a strong beef flavor. You know, not as rich, but still very tender. And just kind of showing people like, hey, there's differences in meat and in quality, and like I want to be that guy that kind of like shows you and opens your mind to different selections of beef, and that to me is important.
For people who say that the meat might be too pricey,
you know, for me, it all depends on like what you value good beef. You know, because I have plenty of friends that say like, hey, they like going to, you know, Costco and getting, you know, a big tray. To them, like, quantity is better than quality. And to me, I'm a quality guy. I'd rather have less of something, really good quality, than have a bunch of quantity and then just not be like the best. You know what I mean? More of a meal, not such an experience. And that's what I wanted to kind of make the difference. And I wanted to go after the farms that were doing it right. The farms that, you know, were not adding all this extra fillers and injections and hormones. I wanted to go, you know, a lot of these Australian farms, the cow is not, the calf isn't separated from the mother for the first 2 years.
Wow.
It's done very natural. I think, you know, the Australian agriculture and the way that they're raising beef is the best in the world. And that's why, you know, the majority of my selection is Australian beef, and you know, different items, because I think it's that much better, you know, and no added hormones, no antibiotics.
Right. Now,
it's all grass-fed, grain finished. The farms are in Australia.
So you go to Australia to source the meat? Where do you get it from?
So they have representation here, but we have plenty of meetings with them, and basically we pick, you know, what we're gonna buy, and then from there it flies here to the United States. We break it down. We clean, you know, all the different pieces that are coming in.
Wow.
And then we portion it so that you can have it here. Oh. So when you come to JPM, you're never going to see a full cow. You're never going to see anything hanging like that. And then everything's already prepackaged, because we want to make sure that everything is done, you know, we're efficient with your time. If we were live cutting here, it would take 20 or 30 minutes to help each customer. And we know that most of our customers want to be in and out within, you know, 5 to 7 minutes. And it's important for us to have speed and be, you know, aware of that. So,
and first timer, what should they get?
First timer, well, it depends. What do they like? To me, I probe them and I ask, you know, what do you normally like to eat, or, you know, when you eat steak? Because I want to take them to what they feel is a good steak in their mind, and then compare it to like our version, and then like, wow, that's really, really good. I would say our top 3 is definitely the churrasco, the filet, and the ribeye. Those 3 in our store, and then the tomahawk. People love that. Those are like, those are like the top 4 items, and then the picanha as well too. So those are like top items here. You know, we're also well known for our Argentinian sausages that we have.
I haven't had those yet.
Yeah, we have Argentinian brisket sausages and different specialty items that we have, but those are really, really good too as well.
Okay.
I would like people to know that my family and I are very grateful for them, and that, you know, thank you for allowing us to share our dream and our passion with them, because this is something that means a lot to us, and we're blessed to be able to do this every single day. And
it's a beautiful thing that you've been able to maintain it as a family-run business as well.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
And your mom is great.
Yeah, I would just say thank you, and, you know, very grateful.
Thank you. Well, thank you for providing the best meat out there.
Thank you.
We are very grateful for that, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.